Hey guys, so you might have seen it on SSundee's channel, but they just played my Wall Wars map, and I've gotten a lot of requests to do a tutorial on how to make this. So I'm going to go through everything from how to make a cool pregame lobby like this, all the way to actual mechanics. We're going to start off with the mechanics. So the first thing you are going to need to do is create these walls. And you can really use any kind of wall to do it, but I am going to go ahead and use... If you go to galleries, shape, and then cube large, you pick whatever color. So we'll go with red, and I just had it on 32 grid snap, but whatever grid snap you use, you can do just the same one across. Make sure that it is at the center here, your resize axis height, and go all the way to the top. And so it gets about that high. I wanted to get a little higher, so I went ahead and snapped one more on there. Make sure that it is even. And then honestly, a really great trick is what I do is I put something like that down. I copy all three of these, and then I just go boom, 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 and I make my entire wall like that. And then I can go back and delete these, but it's way easier than trying to resize everything. So yeah, that is your walls. You can do any colors. Remember, cube, gallery, large. The next thing you're going to need to do is click one of these guys, which you can find in devices, explosive barrel. You're going to place that halfway through the wall, and then you're going to want these settings: health indestructible, off, 0.5 radius. This is basically showing how big the explosion is going to be, and because it is, we want it right on this, right, see this line right here, we want it right in the middle of these four so that it gets all four, and then that 0.5 will be enough. So then player damage, no, none. Structure damage 5,000 because we want to make sure it breaks. Damage indestructible, yes. So I set it to 2 minutes, but I honestly wish I did it this way, so I'm going to teach you this way. I'm going to have it off and then come down to explode when receiving from channel 3 because it's open right now. So then you'll copy that over and make sure that you get that little square in between all four for each one. And the easiest way to do that is pick this up again, place it every 2 tiles, and it will be perfect. The next thing you're going to want to do is you want to start and grab a HUD device, which you can find in devices right there, and you want to put whatever message you want to be right off the bat when people spawn, whether it's a welcome. The most important thing is I usually say you have this amount of time to loot before the walls fall, and I put display time 5 seconds, time from round start off, and then show when receiving from 1 and top center. But you can place it wherever you want, whether it's center right or bottom center. You can play around with that. And the channel 1 is also going to be on this speaker. I have an unlock thing that's going to sound like that, and I have it loud, whole island, and then activate when receiving from 1. So the reason why those both are at 1 is I want it to happen at the same exact time. And so I put a sequencer down, which you could also find in devices right there, and you just lay it down. I have length normal, and then the only other thing I've changed is activate on game phase start. What this is doing is telling the game as soon as the round starts, this will go off and it will trigger channel 1, which the only thing I changed on this is when triggered on, transmit on channel 1. So at game start, both of these will go off at the exact same time. And then the other HUD message I have is 1 minute until the wall collapse. Whatever you want it to be, whether yours is 2 minutes or 3 minutes or even just 1 minute of looting, you can change the description and mess with the time just so that it adds up correctly. And then I have display time as 5 seconds, top center again, and that should be all for that one. And so remember these guys right here, the explosive device, we set it to channel 3. So we're going to set down a timed objective, which is going to be right here in the devices, and you're going to go in, change start when round starts, yes, 2 minutes, but you can change that again to 3 minutes, whatever. This is the time when the actual walls blow up. This is what you're picking. and then these will all be the same, and then all the way at the bottom we're gonna do when completed transmit on channel 3. So that is gonna send on channel 3, and all of the explosives at once will blow up. And then I also have a speaker, and if you literally, it will say off, just make one to the left, and it has a search and destroy explosion sound, and I have it as loud whole island and activate when channel 3, like an audio cue around the whole island, letting everyone know that the wall has dropped. And the cool thing about this timed objective is it's going to show on the person's screen as well, and it's going to count down from 2 minutes all the way to 0 seconds, and then at 0 seconds it will explode. So the last real mechanic before we actually get to building out the map is going to be this class designer right here. And if you go into the class designer, I just have it as all because it's going to literally be every team. And I have class identifier 1, equip granted item on first item, starting health 100, max health 300. You can change that to literally anything you want. I'm going to change this back to 100. SSundee and them wanted a Juggernaut style, so this was set to 1,000, but really you should be able to do 100 and be fine, because a normal game would be 100, 100. And then the only other thing, maximum building resources, I set as 500. That's going to set how many max resources you can have. So even if I loot everything in my map, I can get no higher than 500 wood, 500 brick, 500 steel at a time. And then the last thing you're going to want to do is you will go into weapons, and I like starting the player off with weapons just in case. I think it's better than starting with no weapons. And for this one I just did a gray AR and a gray tac, and then I went into consumables and I started them off with some wood, brick, and metal, and then gave them some extra ammo right here just so that I had some. And then if you go into play, the way you get it in here right now is you just drop it right inside, and then it will pick it up. And for this, I don't want all 500 being rewarded, so I go down and I'll just do drop, let's say 100 of each, and then I would do the same thing here. And now it is time to focus on your actual map area. So once you've built up all of these walls like we talked about at the beginning of the video, and you've laid these explosive devices, next thing you want to do is make invisible barriers. And basically, see the lines right here, it's a little wider than this. It goes to right there and right there, 1 block each way. And what that's doing is it's telling me that no one can knock these walls down or shoot these walls down until the barrier actually drops. And the way the barrier is going to drop is I know that I had the timer set to 3, and I'm going to go down to disable when receiving from channel 3. And the barrier height should be all the way up. Depending on the way you lay this is going to be your width and depth, but you can play around and you'll see, let's say my depth is 4. I saw that expand, so there you go. That's the way I'm messing with it. And then width, I do 100 just so that I make sure it goes all the way straight across. And then I'm literally going to do that on each of these corners, or at least one corner here for the white to go all the way this way, and then one corner over there so it goes all the way down this way. So I know that is all covered. And now it is time. You should have all your barriers up. You should have you don't have to do this, but this is something I like to add mobility. You have your bombs, everything is good to go. Now you have to set up this entire area, and so for each area you get to pick a theme. Remember, the more props you use, the more memory. So when you place down a prop that's already being used, it is only using 3 or 4 memory each time, depending on each one. Like this is going to be 6 or 7 memory. But the first time you place it down, it costs you about 100 to anywhere from 100 to 1,000 memory per time you place it down. So that's the hard part about Wall Wars. As you can see at the top of my screen, I'm almost maxed out on memory, and it's because for different themes I'm using so many different props, and each one, the first time they place it down, it costs a lot more. and then really think about the pathing of the player and how they're going to get their loot. Is there loot spread around the entire thing? Is there an area where there's too much loot? Just like in a map of Battle Royale, there's big buildings, and in that building there's probably going to be a ton more loot than in a giant open space. And so think about how you want to place your loot, and then you'll see this little chest and ammo gallery. And as you can see, there's not enough memory to place it down, but if you were to place it down, you would see all four of those: the golden chest, the normal chest, ammo boxes, and regular. And so we would have taken this, and we can place these anywhere, and what this is doing is every time I open it, it's going to be something different. Once your loot is down, next step is to place a player spawn. It's on gameplay only, and then each team, you're going to have team 4, team 3, team 2, team 1, or whichever combination you want, and you're going to just make sure all the ones on the green side are the same team, all the ones on the blue side are the same team. And you're going to go to use as island start, no, visible during games, no, and you're going to want to place 4 down so that there's 4 per team. And then in the middle I have legendary loot that you can go for, and that was the same chest gallery that I showed you guys. We'll have these right here, which are like mega legendary chests throughout here, and then at the top I have a llama. And the way to do a llama is you go in, pick whatever weapons you want. For me, I put some ARs in it, a grappler, and we'll say an infantry rifle. And all you're gonna do is say add to chest, go over to chest, and create a llama. And it's gonna put right in front of you, and you can place it anywhere you want. And so that should be everything for the outer and the middle. And then the last mechanic is you're gonna want a zone to push people in. So I'll do a full tutorial soon about storm beacons because they're a little bit complicated. And then it is time for pre-lobby. I know I've shown you pre-lobbies before, but this one is a little bit unique because for Wall Wars, I like to have the lobby almost like a top-down look where you can walk over each section and it's like you're in that section. And the way you're gonna do that is you're gonna place a barrier, and you're gonna have it as invisible, enabled during all, barrier width, barrier depth. Just make sure that it covers this entire section so that it stops right here. So I'll basically be able to walk like this in game. And the way I do these sections is these are actually, as you know, huge giant things. The walls are usually normal size walls, but if you go into your phone and then press, for me it's B, but whatever your options button is on your console, you can go to building to prop on, and then I usually like to use 32 grid snap. And for this, now this is not a wall that just snaps into place. I can make it small or big or wide, whatever I want to do. And so you can literally come down and you have to place it exactly where you want it to be, and you rotate. And it's honestly, it's not like the most perfect science. There might be some Z fighting, and to fix that, all you would have to do is either make it a little wider or switch it to grid snap off and just bring it out a little. And see, that's a little prettier than the grid snapping. But honestly, if you're using it in this sense, you can't see grid snap, or you can't see Z fighting from up here. And then also make sure that these are all pre-game only. Use as island start is very important and needs to be set to yes, and then you can toggle the rest of these how you want. And then the last thing we're going to need is just make sure you have all of your settings correct. And in game, put voice chat as all, or you can switch it to team depending on whether you want everyone to be able to talk or just the team. I'm going to just keep it as all. I have 4 teams split evenly. Default class identifier 1 because of that class settings we had set up earlier. Then I have total rounds 4, team rotation every round. This will make it so that every team gets at least 1 turn in every single section and every single theme. All of these other settings I'm going to just scroll through so that you can see them. I'll point out any of the really important ones. Progress, spawn on next round. just so that no one spawns in like the middle of a game and messes everything up, but also so that they do have a chance to join if they come in late. And then I always usually try to put auto start on 30 seconds or more so that people have a chance to join without people just spamming the start button. For settings, you can put whatever time of day you'd like. For this, we have it in team settings, so it really doesn't matter putting it in here anyway. And then I turn off building can destroy environment, and then down but not out I do keep on because I think it's a really fun mechanic for when you have teammates. Yes, that should be it for settings. And then UI, you can design this however you want. I have scoreboard, win condition, time alive, eliminations, assist, and then everything else should be exactly how it started off. And that should be everything. Then you can go ahead and publish. I hope this helped. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and join the Discord, and hopefully I can help you guys out. The Discord is in the link below. And then as always, please hit that like button, subscribe for more tutorials. I'm going to try to do more stuff like this in the future, and I will see you guys next time.
I'm not so perfect, baby, yeah, you are. I'm right, I'm not so